Welcome back. Actually, in this segment, we will be talking about the important role of SMEs, especially that it has proven success in several countries, including the United States and China. This is due to the fact that SMEs are easily initiated projects which carry various benefits to the economy of the state and the citizens. We will be talking about the importance of SMEs in boosting the Egyptian economy, and joining us right now in the studio is Mr. Mohamed Youssef, or Dr. Mohamed Youssef actually, and he is an economic expert. Welcome with us and good morning.
Thank you.
Good morning, Dr. Abdelaziz.
Good morning.
Doctor, to what extent the SMEs are playing an important role now in boosting the economy?
Well, if we're talking from previous years, even we can notice that the contribution of small and medium enterprises in the Egyptian economy have been on the rise.
Yes, indeed.
In terms of numbers of establishments that are present currently, we're talking about around to 1.6 million small and medium enterprises that are present in the economy right now.
Yeah.
In terms of contribution to the economy, there are varying numbers, of course, for the contribution to the GDP. Because again, one of the problems are finding good statistics in that, but we're talking about 40% estimate to the GDP.
Now, Doctor, how can we increase the participation or the contribution of SMEs to the Egyptian economy?
Well, in terms of there are certain challenges for small businesses, as we all know. I mean, there are challenges for the private sector in general, and
Yes.
of course, it's much more intense when it comes to smaller sizes of businesses. And there's been some, I would say, measures that's been taken by the government recently that could definitely try to boost the SMEs, or trying to increase their numbers, especially when it comes to the problem of access to finance, for example. Because the money's there, the money's in the bank, but again, accessing it is a difficult part. And the Central Bank of Egypt, in the beginning of 2016, have had an initiative to try to make banks disperse some loans with lower interest rates for the small businesses. So that sort of measures could definitely assist, but much more important is to have an entrepreneurial culture inside of the country itself. And that could be done through university education, changing the curriculum so that there would be an entrepreneurial behavior. You know, just because one of the main problems that we're facing here are youth. Whenever they graduate from university, they try to find the usual job. Trying to initiate and do their own businesses is always been and have always been a difficult part, especially for people who have not had the education that could allow them to do their own businesses as well.
So, Dr. Youssef, from your point of view, how can we start to give more attention, to give more support to the SMEs, which could give a real boost to the Egyptian economy?
Well, there are certain institutions that already provide support. Some of them are public sector, some of them are private sector. So you would find NGOs, non-governmental organizations that could assist small and medium enterprises.
Yes.
I would say assisting those intermediaries who are in between, you know, the government and the small and the private sector, and making them work in a more conducive environment. That would definitely have a helping hand in it. Because since 2011, you can really notice that a lot of organizations have been flourishing and trying to assist the small businesses, especially because this is the only route now with a high unemployment rate that we're facing. Having their own businesses is one of the major concerns.
Yes.
Now, Doctor, what about the laws? Do we need to amend the laws to facilitate the establishment of small and medium enterprises?
Definitely. I mean, again, we're talking about private sector at the end of the day. So when looking into the laws governing the private sector in general, there has to be some changes there. Already, currently, there are also talks about having a new law for small and medium enterprises in specific in the parliament. But there was already a law that was in 2004 that was concerned with micro and small largely. And yes, laws are needed, but it's much more important to have the implementation mechanisms that can make sure that these laws are applicable and could be applied in reality. So with the law and having a law in the parliament discussed now, you need also to identify a certain governing mechanism or an institution that could handle supervision over the measures that would be stipulated in the law.
Dr. Youssef, to what extent the SMEs and the idea of entrepreneurship, which has been increasing nowadays, could be a way out of the unemployment problem in Egypt?
When we're talking about numbers, we're talking about small and medium enterprises already employ like a third of the labor force, two-thirds of the labor force. So already there is a contribution there. But in terms of again, small and medium enterprise, when you look into the average number of workers in these establishments, you're talking about really small number. It's around 2.3 or 2.5. Nowadays, there are much more concern over or much more focus over what they call high growth enterprises. High growth enterprises are enterprises that can grow significantly in a matter of 3 to 5 years. These are usually enterprises that have an innovation there. So take, for example, one of the companies like Uber, for example, or Facebook, or that sort of innovation of enterprises that could employ more people in a short period of time. Now there is a focus there internationally around startups or high growth startups. Usually they are called gazelles because they are, they can achieve growth in a speedy way.
Yes, indeed.
What about the funding? Like in Egypt, I feel that our banking system is too complicated for startups. Do you feel that we need also to change the banking system and the funding and loans?
Well, the thing is that there is always a tool for each and every enterprise at their growth stage. So if we're talking about like nascent entrepreneurs or really like the startups that are beginning, banks are not the best tool in order to apply to, because just like you said, I mean, in order to apply for a loan, you have to have a track record of financial and feasibility studies, and this is not really a tool for or easy for anyone who's starting a business to do right away. But there are other mechanisms. There are what is called business angels, venture capital, where they have a stake in the business itself with a certain percentage. And actually nowadays you can hear and see many venture capital funds that's been established in Egypt actually following 2011. And there was a recent event that's called the Rise Up Summit, where you can find all of the venture capitalists there and trying to offer their services. So in terms of just finding the right tool in order to finance small and medium enterprises and startups, that's the main concern. Banks, of course, still can assist in that area, but usually it goes with already established small businesses where they have a track record for a minimum of 2 or 3 years.
Dr. Youssef, as you have mentioned now, the startups and the entrepreneurship. Yeah. These are new words that we have been using for not since a long time, but still it could be representing a real important element for change in the economy. We used to be waiting for the job offers to come or for to be employed in the government or in a private company whatsoever. But now many youth are working by themselves by joining by joining incubators maybe, or by having their ideas for entrepreneurship. how that could be a new wave for a better economy and a solution for the unemployment crisis as well?
Well, it is a wave, as you said, and it started all over the world. Like earlier than Egypt, we hear now more about the incubators, and having more incubators are being established here in Egypt. How this is contributing, it's again attributed to what I said about the high growth enterprises, because usually these kind of incubators or venture capitalist companies and funds, they usually target these kind of companies, because at the end of the day they have a stake in this company and they want to exit at a certain point in time. So they have to make sure that these enterprises are going to be profitable at the end of the day. And they have different mechanisms in applying this. So you will find some concepts or some venture capitalists would go with minimum amounts in like 10 or 20 enterprises, and only out of these one would be one of the winners, as they say. So yes, definitely when you have the high growth enterprises, you tend to employ more people in it once it grows to a sizable business, I would say.
Dr. Youssef, recently the Ministry of International Cooperation has signed several agreements with the EU. How can that benefit the SMEs?
Well, it depends on the kind of programs that they have signed. Yes, there are some certain programs that not only the EU, it's also with World Bank, with other international organizations, and they really focus into how to assist small businesses. So it's either through allowing for finance or business development services, or even assisting in the regulatory framework. So it definitely would have an effect and an impact. Just I would say there has to be some kind of coordination between these institutions so that there's no replication in the same areas. But definitely this would assist in at least allowing businesses to find some other providers who can give them a hand. The real, I would say, core issue in entrepreneurship and how to try to boost it is to try to introduce it as a concept early on in the educational system. So from primary school, or at least currently you can start with universities, and already some universities have started having in their curriculum, especially in business administration, specific courses on entrepreneurship and how to start your own business. Because once you do it there, as you know, you're just putting the seed in the minds of the youth that this is a potential venue that they can go to once they have graduated. It will make it much more easier for them to identify how they are going to start the business.
Sir, what about the incubator theory in Egypt? Do you believe that we do have enough incubators to give the good atmosphere for the entrepreneurs, or the proper funding and proper advisors for these entrepreneurs in order to start the business and to have good startups?
Absolutely no. We need we need definitely more. You're talking about people entering into the labor force ranging around 600,000 every year. Having such services or incubators that can support these kind of numbers that enter the labor force. Absolutely. And most of them, I mean, they again look for certain businesses, people who are well educated, they know how to do at least the business plan. They assist them, yes, in the beginning, but they go through phases. So they can start with 100 people who apply for such programs or incubation programs, but end up with only 10 at the end of the course or the phases that they go through. So definitely, if you have more of such incubators, definitely would help. But again, having sufficient pipeline of businesses with the right mind and mentality and risk taking I mean, that's again another aspect in it.
Dr. Youssef, now for the SMEs, now is the percentage of SMEs that are into industry, an industry that can export, not import stuff? Are they present in Egypt, or is it all about importing from other destinations? Because unless we export outside Egypt, I think that the real benefit to the economy won't take place.
Yes, that's true. And well, there are productive and unproductive, I would say, venues that small and medium enterprises go into. But still, I mean, with the trade and services, they at least provide employment, and just having a circulation of money in the economy, even if it concentrates on trade and services, would help the economy. Much more help would be, of course, coming from enterprises present in the industrial sectors. When you go to look into the statistics, you'll find that the majority of small and medium enterprises present in Egypt are actually working in trade and services and not into industry. But you will find that the economy currently is transforming into, again, because of the price increases and the huge price increases, especially with imported goods. The prices of electricity, utilities in general, have all increased towards private sector in general. And you will find the trend is going into non-traditional industries, I would say. So we're not, now you can see the trend that is in agriculture, manufacturing, and those as a contribution to the economy are getting lesser, while giving an increase, and the growth rate, for example, telecommunications and ICT is actually increasing in that area. And with ICT, for example, this is service. This is not necessarily only industries. But I would definitely see that in the future, and because of the situation of the current economic situation that we're having, that you will find more small and medium enterprises going into the industrial sector and trying to accommodate for this kind of gap that would be happening in the coming years, I would say.
Indeed, Dr. Mohamed Abdelaziz Youssef, our economic expert, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and that brings us to the end of this episode of Breakfast Show. But first of all, I have to thank my colleague. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, George.
Well, and make sure to stay tuned for more coming up on Nile TV International, and to continue following us on Breakfast Show tomorrow with a new crew. Until then, have a good day.